we are left with the last team to do the presentation, and they demystify everything. Everything from green to blue to yellow and even to red. And they are the red and data demystifiers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome them.
My name is Vera.
I'm Bradley. I'm Grace.
And I'm Rachel.
And we are the Data Demystifiers. Our goal this morning is to demystify this given set of data and to give insights on how to diffuse the demographic bomb. Now, what is this demographic bomb we are talking about? Kindly sit back, relax, and enjoy our presentation. Mind you, our presentation is a little bit different from what all the other groups are presented. According to the Population Housing Census data of 2021, Ghana's population keeps increasing on a daily basis. Now, people may liken this increase to economic growth, but Ghana is not developing alongside the numbers you are seeing. And have you wondered why? A population pyramid can help explain this. Now, what is a population pyramid and what insights can be drawn from it? I hope you guys remember social states. You will see population pyramid, but we just use it to learn Maslow's theory and we finished with it. So now I'm going to tell you the parts of the population pyramid. Now, looking at this, the population pyramid, the slope represents the death rate or the mortality rate. The width of the base of any population pyramid represents the birth rate. The height of a population pyramid represents the life expectancy rate. And the area of a population pyramid represents a total population. Now, a population pyramid can be used to calculate the age dependency ratio of any population. Now listen, every country's population pyramid may look similar, but they are not the same. And this difference is normally due to the fact that one country is more economically developed than the other. And a population pyramid can help us know any economic status of the country.
Thank you, Ira, for that wonderful insight of our population pyramid. Now let's zero in on Ghana. Let's talk about how Ghana's population pyramid looks like and what insights we can get from it.
Okay, before we look at the shape of Ghana's population pyramid, let us know the various types of population pyramids we have and how they differ from one another. So basically, there are three types of population pyramids, namely constricting, we have stationary, and the last one, expansive population pyramids. So with constricted population pyramids, we know that they're just a smaller percentage of their population in the youthful cohorts, whereas majority of them belong to the elderly cohorts. What this means is we can describe this type of population as elderly and shrinking. Also, this is notable of countries with high social and economic development, as well as majority of their population have easy access to healthcare and education. Not just healthcare and education, but quality healthcare and education. The second type of population pyramid we can talk about is the stationary population pyramid. In the case of Austria, what this type of population pyramid depicts is a country that is not growing. What does it mean? If you look at the shape of the population pyramid, Austria. So if we should consider the shape of the stationary population pyramid, it looks like almost like a rectangular shape. That means we have almost equal percentage of their population across the age distribution. Also, this is typical of developed countries with high standards of living, and also they have high life expectancy, as you can see there in the case of Australia. That's the life expectancy is 82. The final type of population pyramid we talk about today is the expansive population pyramid. In this type of population pyramid, the base is wide, as you can see from here, and then the top is narrow. What this means is majority of their population belongs to the youthful cohort, and just a handful of them belong to the elderly cohort. This type of population depicts countries that are developing, and also they have low quality education services, they have low healthcare services, and therefore, when most of their population grow, they are able to stay longer and then they die out. So, if you agree with me, it won't be wrong to classify Ghana's population as expansive. But what does this mean? A colleague here will help us understand what we mean by Ghana's population pyramid is expansive.
As explained earlier, Ghana's population is expansive. This means that Ghana's population pyramid has a wide base, which means that most of our population are within the youthful age code. And as we can also see that our population pyramid is narrowing down at the peak, which means that most of our peak population die out before they reach the peak of the pyramid, which means that we have a low expectancy rate. Also, we can see that our population is concentrated within the ages of 15 to 64, which means we have a youth bulge, which means that Ghana has a youthful population and a growing one as such.
We now know the shape of Ghana's population pyramid and what it says about Ghana's economic status. To further prove this, let's compare Ghana's population pyramid to a less economically developed country and a more economically developed country. With this, my colleague Brandon will begin. Now, comparing Ghana's population pyramid to an underdeveloped country, in this case Burkina Faso, we realize both countries are growing, with the largest population geared towards children. However, Burkina Faso has a wider base compared to Ghana, with 16.5% of its population within the age brackets of 0 to 4, compared to Ghana's 12.2%. This signifies a higher birth rate in Burkina Faso than in Ghana. Now we realize that the life expectancy of Ghana is slightly higher than that of Burkina Faso, and this is because our healthcare system is better than theirs. Now moving to the population structure of the UK and comparing it to that of Ghana's population pyramid, we realize that UK shows an elderly dependent population with a bulge within the area of 30 to 34 and 35 to 39. Unlike in Ghana, which shows a youthful dependent population with a bulge within the area of 0 to 4 and 5 to 9. This implies a high birth rate in Ghana and a low birth rate in the UK. The decline in birth rates in the UK is because there are more women pursuing careers, hence they either delay giving birth or decide not to give birth at all. Now let's look at the steep sides of the population pyramid for the UK. We realize few people die before they reach old age. Whereas in Ghana's population pyramid, the peak keeps narrowing. That means people are dying as they reach old age. Hey, should we run away out of the country as we age? Well, life expectancy in the UK is high because quality healthcare is available to a large portion of the population. Also, the development of vaccinations reduce death from TB and measles, increasing the number of people growing to 65 years and older. The development of new drugs to treat cancer and degenerative diseases, such as Alzheimer's, has also increased life expectancy in the UK. Finally, compulsory education has taught people about the risk of transmission of diseases, leading to an increase in hygiene in the UK. Wow, isn't that interesting? So a population pyramid indeed says much about the status of the country. Now let's come back home to Ghana and draw insights from the implications of Ghana's population pyramid and suggest possible solutions that can make Ghana's economy a better one.
According to the data we have from the Ghana Statistical Service, about 18 million people can work. That's the people between the ages of 15 and to 64. And about 12 million people are dependent on those who can work. Who are those dependent on those who can work? Those between the ages of 0 to 40 and 64 years and above. However, according to the data we have from World Bank, about 30 million people are economically active, that is those in the labor force. Ideally, the inner circle here is supposed to be smaller. We are trying to avoid a situation like that of Burkina Faso, where out of the 100 people who can work, 87 are dependent on them. Ghana Statistical Service. Out of 100 people, 87 people are dependent on those who can work. Ghana Statistical Service also makes us understand that Our current age structure is gradually transitioning from that of children to that of young people, and this may lead to a demographic situation called a youth bulge. Now, what is a youth bulge? A youth bulge is a relatively larger number of youth in a population. Now, this youth bulge may become a demographic bomb because this youth may not earn a satisfactory income or may not even find work to do. And if this youth or these youthful people are frustrated, they may become a source of political and social unrest and instability in the country.
Another implication of the shape of Ghana's population pyramid on its economy is on its decrease in per capita income. Now, we all know per capita income is the amount of money earned per person living in a nation, and is calculated by dividing a nation's income by its total population. So, shall we sit down, fold our arms, and embrace these downward effects towards us whilst we can find solutions? Certainly not. We came here with solutions, and our friend Rachel here will help us enumerate that.
So, aside from the fact that Ghana's population can have a negative implication on it, it can also be turned into a demographic dividend because we have a youthful population. And how can we do that? One major way a country can do this is to employ their youth. And East Asian economies have been able to do that. And I can take a country like China, who has been able to create millions of jobs for its young people and have relocated young people from lower agricultural productivity to manufacturing productivity. And also, as we create more jobs for youth, the question is, how do we keep this youth capable to be able to do it? And we talk about the fact that education is important. And just like Finex has been able to do, we realize that we've been able to build this insightful dashboard because we were given the opportunity and we were trained. And even though the population and housing census survey has been out, some people will leave here with a lot of knowledge that they read from the book. And this shows that education is important, so the country should invest in it. And it is quite interesting to know that from the 2022 budget that was read, it was noted that the government is about to take an initiative called the Youth Start, which is going to create 1 million jobs for the youth. And even though this is a good initiative, we don't want the government and other stakeholders to end it. They should take advantage of the fact that the country is youthful and employ us to be able to make the country move forward. Thank you.
A population pyramid can help us trace past trends and indicate potential for the future. For instance, the estimation of job opportunities can be concluded by analyzing the population trend. Does the country require more schools? Are the medical services to be improved? These are questions that hold an impact on the socio-economic well-being of a country. Assessment of the population pyramid can help us reach out solutions to these questions. Ghana's youth bulge can therefore be turned into a demographic dividend by putting in place more policies in favor of the youth to help diffuse the bomb. Boom!
Are you guys done? All right, so data demystifiers, ladies and gentlemen, taking us through the beginning and then the end, the Genesis to Revelation. Thank you. A round of applause for them. I don't think that you've done it all. Do you know why? Over to our judges. They will show you something.
Wow. Very good one. Very good one. And I must say that I hope you didn't do their corrections whilst we were analyzing the earlier presentations. Because they seem to have found a way to correct certain things that as we go around and then talk about the earlier presenters. They've been smart. I'm not to be frank, they've been smart. You see, this is something that I'm sold of. I have a population. I have information. Where is my problem? where are the issues that I can find out and what to do. Yes, I've heard about population pyramids, read a little at a glance about it, but I must say that the pyramid did the trick for them. For some of us who are figure biased, we deal in numbers. When you look at it from this pyramid, I can tell that I know where my concentration should be. And based on that, I can drill down, which they did, and know that if I have the bond in this category, what are the needs of the people within those categories? And then after that, if I'm able to come out with 20-30% of the solution that is needed to diffuse the bomb a little to a certain point, what are the effects on the rest of the population? Another trick that I could share with all of us that we learned. Once you identify something like this, you find the concentrated places or the regions where they are. So that if you see that they are concentrated in the hinterlands, and you know that if I take this economic venture to that place, you have, let's say, 1 million people within that place, and 500 people that are active ones. If I'm able to support the 500 people, the rippling effect is a solution that we're going to have. And those are the things you can easily pick up and avoid all the English that we'll be doing. Straight away, you narrow down to the solution. Everywhere done. That's my mission.
And I like your home. I think you really did a good job demystifying the data. And just a few, two things on the presentation. Could you go to the home? Yes. So first of all, I wanted to find out what was the criteria. I know, yes, you were comparing to countries, but what was the, I don't know if you said it and I didn't hear, but what was the criteria for the comparables for selecting Austria, Burkina Faso, UK? Yes, I just wanted to know the criteria. And then secondly, maybe on the dashboard, yes, I know that there are the 3 types of pyramids, expansionary. If you could have just indicated this title on it so that we know which one. Or is that when you go to expansionary, do we know which one you're talking about? Yeah, so it comes to this side. Yes. Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to find out the comparison, the basis for these countries.
Come for it. Mr. M, we need your mic.
So we chose to compare Ghana.
They were looking for you. And they were looking for yours.
We chose to compare Ghana to an underdeveloped country and a more developed country in order to know what the more developed countries are doing to make their pyramids look like that.
Okay, so that's the policy with the UK and then
yes.
Okay, so I was more like looking for maybe if you compare this to a more
some economic basis for which they were doing the comparison.
So I have loved to see maybe Ghana and another country based on who are comparables, maybe based on their GDP or based just to have a sense of how their pyramids also look like. I get what you mean and I appreciate the content here, but I'd have equally wanted to see where we stand together with our peers as well.
Yeah, I think the rate definitely has affected. For me, what I liked about this one was the dynamic nature of your model, for want of a better word. I was constantly looking to compare. And I think with data, that's what you find yourself doing all the time. want to compare. Sarah just spoke about the basis in which you were motivated to pick the countries. You know, again, she wanted to compare. She wanted to see why, you know, the what, how. How do we compare? How do we compare? I think in my final summation, what I would say is going back to how we use the data. For me, as a country, Ghana, that we are trying to develop and build with limited resources, it's about comparative advantage. You know, again, comparative advantage. I.e., with our limited resources, how do we best put those limited resources to use, to best use? That could be through the demographic makeup of the country, like what Robert said, you know, where are the pockets of opportunity in terms of our age, and what can they do to better the country? Are there certain things, resources we can take advantage of in certain areas that demographics can use? When I say demographics, the age banding can leverage off to make a difference. And for us as a nation that's building, those are some of the critical things I think we should be looking at. But from my point of view, I think excellent presentation. Thank you.
Let me just add that I like how well read it seemed all of you were just hinting us of items in the budget alongside the basic economic principles you highlighted, because it shows that you put a lot more work.
Why are you itching to go? Daytime demystifiers, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for them.